what's up guys? My name is Zack and today I am driving a 1949 Cadillac Series 75. Up front is a 5.4 liter V8 and down below is a 4-speed automatic transmission. Now I am super excited to be driving this Cadillac for one main reason. It is an unrestored survivor from a very long time ago, and these are my absolute favorite cars to review. There's so much history and such an awesome, brilliant, rich story that comes with cars like this, and I'm so excited to share it with you here today on the Shooting Cars YouTube channel. But if you would like to submit your own vehicle, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. But let's get back to that 331 cubic inch V8 under the hood. Well, its big party piece is the fact that it is an overhead valve V8. This is Cadillac's first year of its first overhead valve V8 they ever offered. Similarly, that same story is told with the 4-speed hydromatic transmission. It again was first used in an Oldsmobile, proven reliable, and then put it into the Cadillac. It is an automatic transmission, however, it doesn't have a park gear. You actually just put it into neutral and pull the parking brake like you would find on a BMW SMG transmission from the mid-2000s. So, very cool there. Last but not least, of course, the Cadillac Series 75 is rear-wheel drive. How does it feel to drive the Cadillac Series 75 from 1949? Well, it's very cool. First of all, it's giant, and visibility isn't actually great, especially with the split window. It's not great. The brake pedal is also rather small and tucked up next to the steering column, so it's not super user-friendly. There's no power steering, and it is very heavy. However, the point wasn't to drive your Series 75 Cadillac, it was to ride in your Series 75 Cadillac, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have a gauge cluster. So to the bottom left is my fuel and coolant temperature. In the center is my very horizontal speedometer, and off to the right is my battery voltage and oil pressure. This is a 6-volt system, by the way, for that battery voltage. On the steering wheel, we don't get anything. However, we do get a horn. I love that so much. And the center of the steering wheel actually has an interesting story. So, Sammy Davis Jr., the famous musician, was once in an accident in a Cadillac, and this centerpiece is what knocked his eyeball out. He actually had a glass eyeball for a lot of his life. Down below the steering wheel, we have a bunch of switches and pullouts for venting, and our wipers to the left, and our ignition as well as our key to the right. On the door, we do have cranks for the smoker's window as well as our latch to get in and out, but then we have hydroelectric windows. So there actually is a hydraulic pump under the hood. Yes, that giant reservoir you see is just for the windows, and that glass jar is for the windshield wipers. Yes, factory glass jar, absolutely wild. And so I'll pull over here. That's pretty cool. Look at that. So solid. They do it with such conviction. I love it. Moving into the center, we do have an aftermarket piece. Now, this was a guide that helped you see stoplights because of the low brim of the windshield. Our Cadillac badge, radio, clock off to the right, and our extremely basic heater controls, as well as down below, we have our stereo option for front or rear. The seat is a bench seat, and it is very comfortable. Although the steering wheel is very large, sitting in here is nice and to be expected out of a Cadillac. However, if this was the limo variant, it actually was 99% the same car, but you would have seen leather up front as opposed to the cloth, which was the passenger sedan. However, speaking of space, let's hop in. Actually, wait, it fails the big friggin' bottle test. How could I forget? All right, now let's talk about the rear because that's where you really want to be. All right, this is one of those back seats where I just have to go handheld because there's so much cool stuff. First of all, once we are back here, I mean, obviously so much space. However, this is known as the 7-passenger vehicle. That is because you can actually pull these out And you have 2 jump seats, one on either side. There's another one right there where you could actually sit. And now you have a 7-passenger vehicle. Really simple construction. This just folds down. There you go. Also, this was a Fleetwood vehicle that would later be acquired by GM and used for the name. Pull this closed here. And now we are in the back of the Series 75. Absolutely wonderful. We have a nice little footrest here. Like I said, 2 pop-out seats. And we have cigarette lighters, ashtrays, and window switches. Now, something interesting about these window switches is that these will make the window go up and down. Pretty standard. However, the front window switches can only make them go back up. The driver can't accidentally lower the rear windows. Only these rear switches will do that. I also can slide open these rear windows, but it is raining, so I don't want to do it too much. We have these nice hooks. We have opera lights. We could turn on with the flick of this switch. Absolutely love that. The owner also has some really cool vintage travel guides and whatnot here, which is really, really cool. And this was the most important seat of the house because this is theoretically where the rich owner or business owner or celebrity would sit because it was curbside. The driver would get out, come around, open the door, paparazzi, the whole 9. So I can only imagine how many stars, how many celebrities, how many actors and political people sat in the back of here and exited out of a door just like this one. Really, really cool. We also do have this beautiful clock here. It is starting to get a little toasty in here. No AC, and it is a humid, rainy day. But let's hop into the very back and take a quick look at the trunk, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, around the back, 2 things the owner told me to be aware of. First of all, it does have a separate key than the ignition. The second thing is that the key stays in it as the trunk comes up. And third of all, be very careful of these. It's very easy to bash your head, so I'm going to keep one hand up here to remind me. Once we are back here, we have tons of really cool period correct luggage back here. Absolutely love all of that. And the drink Pepsi Cola, so cool to see, and that is the stock spare tire location. There is a toolkit underneath the rear trunk, but that's it. This is so cool. I mean, just look at it. This is a piece of history, of American history. This was America post-war. I mean, that's the coolest thing on planet Earth to me. So very, very neat. Now we got to talk about the looks, and I love it. I love 40s cars wholeheartedly. I think they look so special. And because there was so few of them ever made, it just adds to how special these cars really are. Now, for 1949, this was the final year, and this car actually lived 2 years longer than it was supposed to. From the cowl back, this is basically a 1941 Cadillac. However, they updated the fascia of the Series 75 after World War II. Cadillac didn't really want to make this car after World War II, but they felt that they had to in order to keep up with Packard, who had a similar offering on the market. But with all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving a 1949 Cadillac Series 75? Well, it's been an incredibly special experience, and I've loved every moment of driving it. I love these older cars, and especially this unrestored Survivor car is so cool to me. The rich history, the butts that have been in this seat, that to me is really, really cool. But I also wanted to talk about Cadillac. They started building this in 1941, and they built it in 1942 as well, but then America went to war. So Cadillac switched its gearing and started putting out tanks. They built thousands of tanks in the Cadillac factory up in Detroit. Yes, this is a true Detroit Cadillac. Not Auburn Hills, not Hickory Corners, Detroit. Downtown Detroit. And so after the war, after we won the war, might I add, Cadillac went right back to making this awesome car. And I have to equate it to showing up at a nice venue and the ice sculptor is building this beautiful ice sculpture for everyone to enjoy. And then they stop doing that, get down from their little ladder, beat the snot out of a guy, embarrass him in front of the world, and then go right back to making a beautiful ice sculpture without skipping a beat. That's what Cadillac did. They said, hold on, pause, let's beat the Germans with our awesome tanks, which weren't even that awesome, but we could just build more of them. Then they came right back to building cars like this. I love that story, and the war effort is so fascinating to a person like me that I am very excited to hopefully dig into it more as time goes on. But that's the story with this Cadillac. The late 40s were a very odd time for automobiles. So this is not only a showing of one, but a true survivor. This has no makeup on it. This isn't pretty for the camera. This is how this car has existed for the last 80 years. That is really cool. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Jason for letting me take out and borrow his 1949 Cadillac. What an amazing experience. Jason has been wonderful to work with. I have a feeling we might work together again on a couple more videos, maybe some point next year. But until then, I appreciate all that he's done for me in letting me take out this beautiful piece of history. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.